Pitches are being listened to. Xbox and Rare are reportedly interested in making a new Banjo-Kazooie. So this is some information I had seen that's been actually coming out for actually the past few days. So I did want to go ahead and discuss some of it and just kind of get into the talks about what's going on. So for anyone that doesn't know, there's been a lot of layoffs that have been happening at Xbox, and unfortunately, that's including some of the developers behind wanting to do some Banjo Kazooie type of stuff. And there was some other information that had gotten put out there that was a bit unfortunate. The developers that were working on possibly doing a Perfect Dark, either remake or sequel, I forgot which one it was. They're part of the individuals that got laid off at Xbox, which is very unfortunate. Just because you know games like Banjo Kazooie and Perfect Dark were part of like my personal childhood and stuff like that. So seeing that those developers are kind of the ones that were working on those types of games are the ones that were being laid off is just really unfortunate, especially considering the fact that I feel like those types of games can really bring some old fans as well as new fans into Xbox's kind of wheelhouse if they were trying to get more people to be coming in and kind of getting more into wanting to play Xbox games kind of a thing. Now obviously with the whole merger that Xbox is trying to do where they're trying to get rid of exclusives and kind of add those to Sony's library as well. That is one of the things where it is a little bit unfortunate on their ends. But if they were able to kind of get these people back going with these types of games, I feel like they still would be able to actually make a dent as far as making money and everything like that. So yeah, there's been rumors, obviously I did a video on it a while back with Toys for Bob wanting to do, their own Banjo-Kazooie game. And for anyone that doesn't know, Toys for Bob, they're the developing team that were able to do the Spyro trilogy, the reboot that they had done with that, which ended up coming out really well, and it was very successful from the fans perspective as well as the company's perspective as well. So them wanting to be a part of doing something with Banjo Kazooie, I feel like would be perfect because of the fact that they have shown that they are able to kind of make things happen in that regard, and they actually do seem like individuals that care about the older franchises. So wanting someone like that to be able to actually take care of this type of stuff is pretty much all you can ask for, especially considering that Xbox, it seems like they haven't really had much care for the franchise in a very long time. I personally I love Banjo Kazooie. That was one of the games I grew up with for sure. And with being such a Nintendo 64 fan and everything, because that was like my console when I was really young. So seeing this information come out, it, it it leaves a little bit of hope. There's a lot of articles you could see, obviously with all the thumbnails I have. There's a lot of articles where they're stating that any new Banjo Kazooie game has been shelved with all the layoffs and everything like that. But at the same time, there is some word that there is potential for it to actually still be in fruition, and there is talks that Xbox and Rare are still looking into things and maybe still considering it, kind of a thing. Now, one of the unfortunate things that did come about all of this news was the fact that Greg Malis, the game designer for Banjo Kazooie, was laid off. I'm not sure if he was laid off necessarily, but he did leave with all the layoffs that had happened. So that is very much unfortunate news because of the fact that he was able to actually be involved in the original Banjo Kazooie as well as Banjo Tooie. So seeing that information come out is very unfortunate. It does suck because if they are going to be coming out with like a sequel or a reboot or something in that regard, you kind of hope that some of the individuals that were originally part of the game from when it first started would be coming back and kind of doing that stuff. There's been a lot of information as well from the individual that did like the soundtrack and everything like that, the music for Banjo Kazooie, that they're stating they don't believe that anything's gonna be coming anytime soon as far as the Banjo Kazooie, having a remake or a sequel or anything like that. So it's a little bit up in the air. There's some information that's kind of stating that there is a possibility of it happening, and then there's some information out there that's stating that no, there's nothing that's going to be coming in. I personally, I'm just holding my hopes up that there will be something that would be coming that will kind of be in tune to what Banjo Kazooie used to be, the older games, the original two. Now, obviously, with games like Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, there is some changes that were made with the franchise and everything like that, that personally I wasn't the biggest fan of. I didn't like that they decided to change it up from being like a platformer to like a racing kind of game where you're kind of building and stuff like that. I know some people out there don't have issues with it. They thought it was fine. They thought the game wasn't too bad, but I personally I don't want to see it go back into that direction. And with there being games that had come out like Ukulele, I am kind of hoping that they do kind of decide to go back into that aspect of going back to the Banjo Kazooie formula from before. Now, there's been a lot of word of mouth and everything. I've seen comments on some of my past videos where people have talked about that they don't feel like platformers are what they used to be, and so if they were to come out with a modern day platformer, chances are it probably wouldn't do as well as the companies would hope for. And there probably is some truth to that. You can't negate that altogether. But I just personally feel like, as someone that is a big Banjo Kazooie fan and someone that loves the franchise, if they were to come out with a platformer, that would be something that I would be willing to pick up and play, even if you know what I mean. The game formula is a little bit outdated for some people. I personally would like to at least see what they can do with it and see if they can make something fun, because of the fact that it was, again, something that I grew up on and something that I've known for a long time. And every once in a while, I don't have no issues going back and playing those types of games, like games like Banjo Kazooie or Banjo Tooie, just to kind of get that nostalgic feeling and everything. So if they were to come out with something more modern, like a modern version of it, I would like to see the direction that they would try to go in. If they would try to just keep it the same formula as it was before and just kind of hope that would be able to bring fans in, or if they would decide to go in a direction where they kind of, for the most part, keep the same formula, but add new aspects of it that can maybe change things up a bit and maybe bring a whole new light to platformers altogether. I'm not sure if that'll ever be the case, especially with all this information that's coming out and on it being so gray as to whether we're going to be able to actually get another Banjo Kazooie or not. I'm just really hoping that we do get some type of information that will at least let us know what's going to be happening in the future with this franchise and with these characters, because like I've stated, I love these characters. I love this franchise. It's something that I grew up with. It's something I've had a lot of fun playing. So knowing that there might be a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel of something coming into fruition with this franchise, I'm gonna keep my hopes up. You know what I mean? It's one of those situations where it's pretty much like pray for the best but expect the worst kind of a thing. So there is a possibility that I feel like there could be something in the near future at least announced or looked at, because of the fact that before these layoffs happened with Xbox, there was supposed rumors that there was a game in development, as well as the fact that there was rumors that there were just people out there that were trying to see what they can get something going. Now, again, with Toys for Bob, I'm really hoping that that could be the case. But at this point, we'll just have to wait and see as to what's actually going to be happening with the Banjo Kazooie franchise. And it's kind of funny because, like, honestly, I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. When I first started this channel, I didn't think there was gonna be that much Banjo Kazooie news that I'd be doing. I've done, I think, like 6 videos so far. This will probably be the seventh one. But even then, that was like way more than I was expecting. And not only the fact that there's these many videos that I've been doing because of the information that's been coming out with Banjo Kazooie, I didn't think the fan base was as big as it was. And that's one of the things that really puts a smile on my face, because, like, I feel like I was one of the few people out there that was a really big fan of Banjo Kazooie, and I really enjoyed the games. But since I've been doing these videos and everything like that, and started this channel, I've noticed that there actually is a good amount of fans out there that really love this franchise, and it's kind of tripped me out a little bit because of the fact that whenever I do these videos on this subject of Banjo Kazooie, I tend to get a lot of viewership and a lot of interaction when it comes down to it, which is really cool. You know what I mean? Just because I never thought that that would be the case when it came down to this franchise. I always thought that, they had its fan base and there was people out there that enjoyed it, but I thought it was very niche. I didn't think it was as popular as it was. So being able to see that Banjo Kazooie has been getting as much love as it has for the past few years, and obviously since I started this channel, so pretty for the past few months, I think it's really cool, and it honestly does put a smile on my face. It is really awesome to see kind of come to fruition. So again, as far as there being a new game that's coming out, only time will tell. We'll just have to wait and see. But I'm again, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, and I'm hoping for the best if there is something that can come of this. So those are my thoughts on that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Do you think that there is possibility that there is another Banjo-Kazooie game that could be coming into fruition? Or do you guys hope, like I do, that Toys for Bob will be able to actually make something happen in that regard? So if you guys can let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments, if you guys could like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you guys have been watching this song, I really appreciate it. It means a lot. And yeah, until next time, Harmonic out. Peace.